Still Becoming with Jazzy, the podcast where we have honest conversations about identity, healing, disability, growth, mental health, and the experiences that shape who we are still becoming. Before we move forward, I would like to say that Drew has returned to the Still Becoming podcast as my co-host. After a short break, we have decided that he is a great person to co-host conversations and just brings so much to the podcast. And so I just want to welcome back my best friend and co-host, Drew, to the Still Becoming podcast.
Thank you, Jazzy.
Ooh. It is great to have you back. Today's episode is especially meaningful because we are officially kicking off our Still Becoming Pride Month series. We're really highlighting LGBTQ plus voices, journeys, challenges, healing, and self-discovery throughout this month. And I truly couldn't think of a better time to begin this series with. Today, we're joined by Peter Cromer. Peter is the president of the Adapt Club at Millersville University. And that's actually how we met. So for those of you who don't know what Adapt is, Adapt, well, the college version of Adapt is a student organization focused on disability advocacy, accessibility, inclusion, and empowering disabled students on campus and beyond. Peter, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate the shining intro. You're really making me look good.
You are really awesome. Okay.
Oh,
So, before we jump into our question for today, I would like you to tell everyone a little about yourself. Who is Tina outside of titles and labels?
ooh, that's a good question. Um, well, I think some of the main things that I get up to outside of work, which unfortunately isn't very much, is my real interest in music. I've been playing for a long time. I'm very punk obsessed. Um, that's the way I kind of get out into the world outside of work, outside of school. So I think that's probably the most interesting thing about me. I'm married. I have a whole family outside of school as well. Um, but outside of that, I don't get up too much. I'm pretty new to Lancaster, so adjusting to a move is pretty big.
I love that about you. I love that, I feel like music is such escape for so many of us. And yeah, I'm really big on music too. And it's really a nice way to decompress after school and what and managing, like you said, a family, you know? So I like that you have that outlet for yourself. And while we're at it, since you mentioned you are in school, would you like to share what your major is?
Yeah, I'm doing human behavior and services, so a bit of psych, a bit of social work.
I love that. It's like a crossover between me and Jill.
A
Because,
crossover without having to double major, which would be my nightmare.
yeah, that's so awesome. So Jill has a bachelor's degree in psychology, and as you know, I just got my bachelor's degree in social work. So,
Mhm.
yeah. Okay, that's what. Do you want to add anything? Okay. So, what kind of instruments do you play?
Well, I started out doing piano, but I pretty quickly got into percussion. So I mostly do, I can,
Ah,
yeah, I can do like xylophone, mellophone, drums.
wow. Awesome.
Yeah, it's
See, I
been,
never knew that. I never knew that about you. Ah,
it doesn't come up a lot. They don't exactly cross over with music very much in our
yeah,
department.
well, that's true. That's very true.
That's very cool too. And I, somebody I had to fix my chair,
Oh.
but I'm back now.
Somewhere. I'll edit out all the awkwardness.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Thank you. I
Okay,
appreciate the
so
compliment.
yeah, I mean, Tina is one of uh, very interesting fact that they don't share very easily. So you kind of have to pull it out of
Mm, okay.
him. Yeah. Okay. Moving on. So when you saw the interest one, um, you identify as transgender, to male and pansexual. So listeners who may still be learning, can you explain what those identities mean to you personally?
Yeah. So for me, I think pansexual is the one people have less of an idea of. The idea of it, rather than just being bisexual, for me is that I don't really have any kind of preference in a partner. Gender doesn't really matter to me. Body type, um, ethnicity, any of those kind of factors have never really I never had one specific type. And then for my trans identity, it's just I know I always knew for a long time I very much felt more like a man than a woman, and I'm not very comfortable in the body I was born in. I've known that since I was God, I want to say 13 is when I figured that out. And so that's been certainly a process. But I would say for me, gender is less complicated. It's always been, I'm trying to go in one direction and I'm not there yet.
Yeah, I appreciate that a lot. I'm still kind of new, so like all the jargons of the LGBTQ plus community. So I appreciate that explanation of pansexuality and what that means to you. And I appreciate how you're very open. You're not you don't seem like shallow, so like, oh, you have to look like this or be this ethnicity. I really appreciate that. That's a great quality to have for sure. Um, and I appreciate you share how you figured out like even that the body you were born with at a young age, and you're still trying to figure that out, right? And that's like a journey I can imagine for sure.
Yeah, it certainly gets complicated and it doesn't help because disability is a whole nother add on to it. Already that discomfort of now
Yeah,
I so much more limitation. There's so little like joy to be found in being in my body.
yeah, I can imagine.
What was your career journey like emotionally?
For me, I think the biggest thing with it is that I put together very quickly who I was. So a lot of my struggles, rather than internal, were really external. Um,
Mm,
my family was not at all supportive. I didn't have anyone at school who supported me. I didn't know any other queer people. I'm generally considered, at least from all the other trans people I know, someone who realized who they were very young. So the fact that I'm not that far along in my transition or in being who I am is very surprising. I've been out, at least to friends, for probably about 8, 9 years now, and I just started testosterone and, like, medical transitioning a couple months ago.
wow, wow.
So it's been a long journey, less to figuring out who I am and more to finding people who would accept me for who I am.
I hear that. Yeah, that's a major issue with our community is that we wanna be free and feel whole in ourselves, but it's hard to do that when, like you said, you don't have family support. I mean, it's nice to have friends support you, but if you don't have that familial support, it's very challenging for sure. And you become very alienated. I feel like because you are trying to get support and figure out, like, okay, well, they don't accept me, and then it's a matter of, like, well, I still deserve to feel good about myself and be proud of who I am. I can imagine, like, balancing those two spectrums. And I just wanted to share that I know starting that transition like internally, especially at a certain age, can kind of make things more difficult because our hormones, like, after a while, it's like, body should change our hormones after a certain point. And so people I've spoken to a lot of other caregivers are like, yeah, this has been started sooner because it's just like you don't really fully transition all the way. So uh, I imagine a lot of days around that.
I mean, hormone treatments are like any medication. Dealing with doctors is hard. Getting your medication when you need it and consistently is
Mhm.
hard. It it certainly doesn't help that it's
Mhm.
trans is such a taboo topic for people. And for
Oh
me as
yeah.
well, testosterone, because people can use it as like athletes to juice, it's considered a controlled substance. So certain places aren't even allowed to
Yeah.
sell testosterone because they're like, sorry, we can't sell this. We're worried people are using it as steroids for
Oh
cheating as like an
gosh.
athlete or bodybuilding.
Oh gosh. Yeah. So they have those like stigmatized issues already, and all the people use it for the improper reasons that some people like you who really need it it's hard to get. So yeah, there's that. Um, and I just want to share quickly. I have a younger sibling who is transitioning. Um, and they was like estrogen, and they just 10, 18. I'm really opposed and I'm like, you better start as soon as possible because that's again like a hormone, another medication. Very hard to get. It's very tricky with our system these days. One
Mhm.
thing that really stood out to me from your intake was when you mentioned the complicated relationship you have with your so physically disabled and queer. Can you talk a little more about what that intersection has looked like for you?
Yeah, I think it's made things difficult because I feel like that crossover is not something I personally have gotten to see. I have not seen a lot of other physically disabled queer people, and it's been a real issue because my queer friends aren't very good with the concept of disability. Queer spaces aren't accessible to me, like,
Mm.
physically, I can't get there, but I'll have friends that'll make truly like, they don't know what they're saying, but you hear stuff like, "I couldn't imagine living with that. If I were like you, I'd kill myself. I can't believe this is happening to
Mm.
you." Where I'm like, "You can't talk to someone like that."
Exactly. Exactly. No. That's that adds to a lot of things. I just came out as queer, like simply like
Mhm.
and I really relate to that. Being queer and disabled is a very new thing. Trying to navigate. Um, and my life to believe. I feel like the LGBTQ plus community is more open to helping someone who's queer and disabled than the regular population. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Because I think just don't get it.
I mean, it's a group that has to be accepting. I feel like you always got a better chance
Exactly.
with people who've had to struggle, than the average person, at least, even if it doesn't always go great.
Yes. Yes. And like I'm so I'm going to try on June 20th with Tina. Totally welcome to tag along. I hope you'll enjoy it. Sometimes this is my first pride I'm going to. And I'm excited. But I'm also like, I bet I'm gonna be like this along. Maybe not, but I think I'm gonna be the only one there with a physical disability, and I'm gonna be blocking my pride self out there.
I will say, I don't think you will. I went last year to Lancaster.
Okay.
There's some physically disabled folks I saw last year.
Oh, okay. Give me some hope.
I
Okay, good.
I think the biggest issue is, like, it depends because I saw some folks with, like, canes and walkers, but there's no physically disabled people there because you can't get your wheelchair around in Lancaster, you can't get a bed chair, like,
Yeah.
you can't
Yeah,
go to Pride
that's
if you can't get
that's
there.
true. Yeah, that's true. That's the part about that's what we advocate. Like, hello, the representation for people who want to do things, right? And I
Mhm.
feel like that's why we don't see people like that in our community. Because, like you said, they just can't get it.
It's really difficult, I feel like, to convince people because they'll say they don't see disabled people, and you have to explain,
Uh-huh.
well, they're not there because they can't get there. And so you're trying to convince people that a group of people in their mind that don't exist are all traps. I'm like, you're not seeing them because they can't get there,
Yeah,
but no one wants to make ways for them to get there because they
there's
feel like they don't exist.
yes, exactly. It's like a cycle.
Mhm.
I use that and also I wanted to say I did those of you don't was really embracing who you are and really living it out.
This is you. It means a lot to me. Say that. It means a lot to have you as an ally. You know, I love that you support people in the different community and when I came out, it was like you was happy I came out. You know, and it was like I felt so supported and seen. So thank you.
You welcome. I can't see any other way, I don't think.
No.
Do you feel like to say those real voices are represented of in society?
I would say I think I'm gonna give a pretty definite no on that one. Um, I think it's because being gay is very much considered a taboo topic, but I truly think more so is being disabled. I've met
Mm.
a lot of other queer people who are disabled. I've heard of it and just no one it's considered embarrassing to be sick or hurt. So people don't want to bring up that they're disabled, but there's plenty of stories. I forget her name, but one of the big drag queens on RuPaul's Drag Race didn't mention her disability. She has an ostomy bag and refused to talk about it on the
Ah.
show, didn't want people to bring it up. It's people try to hide, I think, because they feel like they need to make up for being gay. They need to be really impressive. They need to seem strong. And being disabled makes them feel like they're not strong anymore.
Wow. Yeah. That's very deep. I never thought about it like that. You know, again, like you said, people, I feel like, you know, when you come out, they die, transgender, whatever, you know, just like shows you, and then add a disability on top of that. It's like a lot of compounded guilt almost. And like, we should feel guilty, first of all. Some disability are just beyond our control. Like, we didn't ask to be disabled, you know?
No.
And that's just very hard, you know? Very sad to hear that we live in such a society in 2022 that makes us feel like we have to hide one side or the other. Like, we have to choose. Are we gonna come out as whatever identity, or are we gonna admit we're disabled? And we should have to choose. We should be able to, and that's why we have so many, I feel like we have so many identity crises. Because we're trying to figure out which part of us is more appealing, more accessible to people, more likable, more digestible, and we try to really treat parts of ourselves. And at the end of the day, I want to be silenced because I know that a lot of us out there that's disabled. And again, in the LGBTQ community. And we shouldn't have to treat any parts of ourselves just to be accepted, you know?
No, it's so sad. I think it's and I understand a lot of why because of like the crisis that came with AIDS and how being disabled looks as a
Mhm,
gay person, but the thought
mhm,
that someone who
mhm.
talks so often about, like, coming out's the best thing that happened to me, you have to be who you are and hate yourself, are still so willing to hide a certain part.
Yeah, exactly. It's so disheartening. It really is.
I also find it so disappointing that someone's disability is still considered a weakness by so many parts of the society, and it's really struggling to hear that still in the age LGBT community that a community that is so sensitive of language to this kind of person that is still such a puzzle.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy.
Mhm.
Crazy. It's really fascinating how disability is seen as a weakness. Like, that makes me sick to my stomach. Huh?
Yes.
Mm.
What are some misconceptions people may have about disabled LGBTQ plus individuals in your
I think one of the big ones is that, like, people really don't associate being disabled with being gay, either because, like, gay people are considered as very active, or I think a lot of the time because, um, people don't like thinking about disabled people having sex. It's,
yeah, sure.
how could a disabled person be queer? They don't really have to deal with gender and sex. They're disabled. That's their whole thing. All they do is sit around and be disabled all day.
Mm.
Truly, it's like
Actually,
people think we
that
just
is
sit in
it.
chairs and don't move.
Yeah, actually, that is it from the government. That's really shitty in the first place.
That's all we do.
I love that. Oh my god. Yeah. Oh, you know, that's just crazy. Like, no, you know, crazy. Like, but it's right. Like, it's so outrageous. You know, so even separate LGBTQ for a minute and just, like, just seeing able people are like so amazed when you know when they're outside doing regular stuff. Nothing special. Oh my gosh, it's so inspirational for you know going outside. You're so inspirational for going to the supermarket. Like it's so different how disability is used and then, like you said, and identity on top of that, and it's just of disaster. All kinds of things people think or say. It's just like, what is going on?
It's like she would be what do you expect me to do to the hole and to come up through fire and then like go out in the sun. Never, never love anybody or have any human power. It's what it says, sin only when be said.
This is sadly being obsessed for the rest of my life. I know.
But I am so glad we have two together and other things like that. We were trying to correct that misconception.
Yes, that's
Mhm.
exactly do. So yeah, Peter, kind of why I started this podcast was to really advocate and really talk about education. Some people out there, like us today, should know that like okay, like disabled people have lives just like everybody else. You might have to do things differently, you might have to adapt, but me, I'm not just sitting here like on our deathbed, we have souls fulfilling lives. We have the freedom to be there, dive, all these other things, just like everybody else, regardless of disability or not, you know?
It's
So that's why, yeah.
I think it's really one of my favorite traits about myself and really important to me to be like I'm a very loud person, I'm a very bold, I'm very upfront about who I am.
Mhm.
But, you know,
Mhm.
I've dealt with a lot and so much of like extrinsically growing up was people really being mean to me no matter what I hid or what I did to hide. There's no point in hiding if people are going to be terrible to you anyway. You might as well get to enjoy
Yeah,
and live as yourself.
I agree. And you know what? I felt like when you are your full self and you say, "This is who I am, take it or leave it," you know, that's when you really find out who's in your corner and who is just there for their own reason, you know? And
Mhm.
sometimes it sucks, it hurts, because it's like, wow, you're close to this person, and maybe that person, you say that person, or be your business supporter, and then they end up, like, being the complete opposite. I thought, wow, I never thought, it would be you. And then out of nowhere, someone who maybe you didn't realize or you never was really close to supports you more than the one that you were closest to. So it's a very interesting, like, way of finding out, who's really in my corner, who's really my friend, and who's not, you know?
And you deserve to be around people who would stay with you. I can't imagine I guess
Uh-huh, absolutely.
I can understand why people do it, but I truly couldn't imagine being friends with someone if they were like, "I don't like women," or I don't like black
Yeah,
people," because it's just like I couldn't imagine being friends with someone where I'm like, "If I was just a little different, you'd hate me." I can't
yeah.
We can't have that conversation.
No, I'm not, I'm with you on that, like, and then telling me that, I'm like, okay, well, I can't be a friend. That's not how I roll, like, you know? Like, it's fun, So I just never, yeah, how can people just, like, not like someone simply because of their color or their gender or who they choose to be identity-wise? That always really baffling to me.
Mhm.
Um, and I was to talk about one day, you talked about how you're really dull and loud, and that's why I have to say though, yeah, this is really fine. I mean, Tina is awesome at that. I will never forget my first rally. Um, and the first, this is really fine. And we all said, and Tina had a freaking megaphone. Okay, and it was loud. But
Yeah,
it was really awesome. It was
that was a
really
big one.
like, yes. They have the police on it and everything too. Should have been there.
It was crazy, by the way. The police are like, "I'm gonna arrest you," and I said, "Okay." But if you really think about it, where are the campus police gonna take me? The
And then,
the county jail is like 45 minutes from here. You don't have a holding cell. I'm gonna sit in the car. Oh, how scary.
oh my god. Yes. He was ready to back arrested. they will threaten me. You don't stop. Do that, okay?
I there are Millersville University cops certainly don't. There are some. I've dealt with some certainly worse cops, and Adapt has too. I told you about Adapt Philly. The Philadelphia police spent money to get um
Yeah.
a wheelchair lift on one of their vehicles so they could arrest disabled protesters.
Yeah. That was
You know, the
that was
real
great.
danger to the community.
That,
Oh, my
that is crazy.
yeah. That was only known. Um, but Tina is like, she's like, she's like, I don't care. You can arrest me all you want. And they're like, oh God, this is arrested. He's like, nah, don't worry about it.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah,
I wasn't going
yeah.
anywhere.
Oh my God.
What does accessibility within LGBTQ plus spaces look like to you?
That's a harder one. I think it would definitely be making queer spaces that I can accessibly get to and
Yeah.
feeling like part of the community. I definitely still, what you were talking about, Jasmine, feel that. I mean, I'm going to like a pride event and getting stared at, which is
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
crazy. There are people literally just as clowns. There are like 10-foot drag queens. Were staring at me. I'm the weird guy.
I feel that. What I feel so sad.
Yes, I feel like too when I go to a have you related and real to the staring at these like don't you have anything else wanting to
Hmm.
For real. What? Uh, yeah, I think that too. Like, I definitely feel as if I just don't have that community. Um, that I wish I had, like, that clear community that I could access easily, like you're saying, and really, embody my clear identity, you know? I'm trying to be true to myself, but, well, this is who I am queer, but again, it's really difficult when you just don't have access to that type of community, and it's not easily accessible.
That's the real thing. And it's hard because a lot of queer spaces can't afford to be in accessible places. And a lot of the
Uh-huh.
time they're inaccessible because they're trying to be hidden so they don't have to deal with discrimination.
Mm,
But like
that's true.
the kind of queer people who are used to and I feel like wouldn't stare at me are in the gay bars, they're in nightclubs, they're
Mhm.
in the kind of places
Mhm.
I can't be in.
Exactly. That's the same exact thing for me. You know, you have that tons downtown Lancaster that's full of, and you know, gay people, LGBTQ people, but realistically, who's going in there? What bullshit, you know?
Mhm. It's
So yeah.
it's so frustrating. I it's the truth of how I've feel like I've dealt with it is really annoying, where it just takes so much time. 'Cause I can't go to those
Yeah.
easy places, I just have to spend so much longer building up, like, one friend at a time, slowly integrating myself.
Yeah. That's how I feel like we're exhausting. And I feel like we're responsible for creating spaces that don't exist for us. And it's like, why do I have to create these things, you know? And hard, like you're saying. You know, we're a nice society, people, and it's just so many challenges.
And it truly shouldn't be my job. I
Yeah, it's
already
just,
have so little energy, and I deal with so much, and I put my ass on the line, and now it's my job to make sure you people accept me and be nice to me.
exactly. No, absolutely not. Like, that's what advocacy is exhausting. Because I feel like we constantly have to, like, babysit people, like, and it's adults. Like, this is how you should treat us. Like, less time and energy for that.
It's how
Oh, man.
it's what really got
Yeah, go
me
ahead.
into, like, punk music and that whole scene because of that, like instead of, like, a more exhausted, I think I just really started to feel that rage, and I was like, "I
Yeah.
need something
Mm,
loud, I need something that talks about the things I care about. I need an
mm.
outlet that I feel like I can be fighting while not constantly draining my energy."
Yeah, I like that. See? I need an outlet like that. I need to figure something out for me. It's okay. I have a lot of rage. And I was just talking about that with you. Okay, yeah, I have a lot of anger and like it has nowhere to go. And so like it
Mhm.
ends up coming out to everyone, safe alongside, it ends up coming out to people. I think I'm really nasty and I'm like, oh my god, I'm so fine, you know? And I'm like, I need to channel the anger, like I need something else to put it out on. So
Yeah, it's
I hear that a lot.
unfortunately, like all the topics I feel like we're gonna talk about, there has to be so much, like, complication and nuance. There's never any easy answers.
I mean, yeah. Mhm. Exactly. So okay. So you
I,
just oh sorry.
I don't like that. They do what easy. We wanna figure it out. I let go.
That is very true.
Mhm,
Mm,
We're only left with the hard things.
exactly.
mhm.
Unfortunately. Um so um do you feel like your faces as though at the table a queer person naturally push you toward advocacy? Do
Yeah,
you feel like your experiences as both at the table and queer person naturally push you toward advocacy?
I would say definitely so. I think it's it's hard to just when you have to push for yourself to want better, and when you have to do so much for yourself, it makes you just wanna push because it keeps you from going crazy. I
Mm-hmm.
just
Absolutely.
like, "Oh, people are treating me differently, and I have to fight for people to say the right thing." I'm always correcting people's language. I'm always, like,
Mm.
trying to change and move in spaces so I can be safe. So it's just like, well, yeah, I'm gonna advocate because what am I gonna do? Sit here quietly? I'll lose my mind.
Yeah, no. And, you know, it's like, if we're not gonna do it, who's gonna do it first, right?
You
So it's
really
like,
you really feel like someone's gonna come help you for a while. I think that's what I
yeah.
thought. I was like, "Well, my parents said they'd love me no matter what, and these teachers are supposed to help me. Of course they're gonna do something. How quickly we
Yeah.
learn.
Exactly. They're like, yeah, no, yeah, yeah. They're like, okay, okay, okay. So, and I think sometimes they have this as well that growing up, we have especially when we have a disability, we have our parents to advocate for us and stand up for us. Say, hey, you're not going to treat my child this way, right? But then when you get to a certain point, it's like, okay, you're on your own now, come to that college point, and it's like, okay, you're on your own. And I always tell, I have a lot of friends that's like various ages, so some of my friends are younger than me,
Mhm.
and they expect that their parents are always going to be there to advocate for them. And I'm like, no, it doesn't work like that. Like, you need to learn now how to speak up for yourself and advocate for what you need, what you will accept, what you don't accept, because trust me, no one else is going to do it for you.
It's really hard because I think that's the assumption everyone has about disabled people is, well, they have a family to provide for them and take care of them. And then the second
Uh-huh.
you mention to someone like, well, what if you're gay and people aren't there? What if you lose your
Yeah.
people? It's just things people truly don't think about. And I think what I also learned really quickly is that the reason oftentimes I think people's parents advocate for them so much is because no one takes disabled people seriously.
And yes, that's true. Oh my gosh, I'm still dealing with that. I'm 10 years old, but she feels something on the kid. Because I look like a kid, I sound like a kid. So it's like, no person takes me seriously. And it's so demoralizing. Because
Mhm,
I'm like, I hear people like on the phone with someone, and they're like, I don't understand what you're saying. It's someone there to translate for you. And I'm like, yeah, but you know, I shouldn't have to do that. Like, I shouldn't have to call someone, oh, hey, can you tell this person this and that? Like, just because you wanted the internet and just because you don't like the sound of my voice or whatever, then you still like, oh, let me talk to someone else. But other than that, and I can talk for myself.
which it's crazy. It's not like if someone was French and they had a heavy French accent, you wouldn't tell them to talk through everyone else. Pe
Yeah,
people have that
exactly.
you learn. It's just because someone's disabled doesn't suddenly change that to be fucking crazy.
Exactly. Exactly. Like that's my blood boiling. And I know you. I know you have like some shit. Mm.
Yeah. It's
I
definitely oh, go ahead.
I can't really that because with my teacher practices I can also I and you don't look at me like I don't understand me. Sometimes when I talk to others, he's like you're not that hard to understand. I know as people listen to you. But
Yeah.
Mhm.
the people I just been or they don't want to listen to me or they don't want to take the time to listen. So it's very frustrating. And I also want to say that I think like one of my go-to fortune points is to teach people how to advocate for themselves no matter what age because that self-hate is connecting no one to do it for you. So you have to do it for yourself. And if there is someone who loves you that much to do it for you, you want to have to teach them what to do. So that's my theories.
It's wild that people don't see disabled people as independent because they have to do so much themselves. Like what you're saying, Drew, you have to learn to figure out how to do it by yourself because no one listens to you and no one explains anything. So most of what you do is figuring stuff out, and then everyone decides that they think you're stupid anyway.
Yeah,
It's so
which
frustrating.
which we know in Aussie, but we were able to get the greater stuff. So we love the people who think that to deny us. Although the idea to think they're just ignorant and they don't know how to interact with us.
Very true. Yeah, I agree. Like, it's so frustrating. So people and some people are just annoying. And yeah, that's why I tell people now sometimes because I'm just like, okay, you just have to
Well, and if we had places that we could go and we could get places that people would see us and interact with us, and then it wouldn't be such a fucking problem.
exactly. And was like, oh my god, this is like American Got Talent or something. Like, for real, like, they look at us like they're some kind of creature. And they're like, oh, what the heck is this? Like, what the hell is this? I'm a regular person. You know? Huh?
It's always that. People will meet people and they're truly determined that somehow this time that they're gonna be so different that you can't relate to them, and never has that been the case.
I know. It's like, oh, so how do you like do this? Or it's like, people just act so weird about that. Like, I said, that's why I should say I don't have friends out here. Because people don't take the time to try to understand me or, like you said, to try to, like, see me just like everybody else. You know, like, oh, no, yeah. Fine, okay. You can't go to inflation. Well, it's not my fault that inflation is acceptable. I didn't make the place. Huh?
That's why, Jazzy, I admire you so much because you help make places for us to go and see ourselves.
Yes, yes. Thank you.
And I can follow your example to the for other people.
Yeah, yeah, we have to. Because, okay, you know, no, nobody else wants to choice. Because they don't, they're not dealing with our problems, so like, they can say what. Okay. So what was that? I like to talk about visually because it's one. You also mentioned important topic like mental health, healing, and growth. And so I'm working on healing a lot is myself. But what has healing looked like for you personally?
I mean, for me, I think you guys can surmise that I'm not really connected with my biological family, but I was
Uh-huh.
incredibly lucky to have met my wife in about 6th grade, who
Aw.
yeah, which is why I married so young. It's been a long one. But, I came out to her and she was like, "Oh, yeah, I'm bi." Her whole family was hippies, so being gay wasn't weird to her, and I've I've
Mm.
had her by my side ever since.
Wow.
Uh,
That's
she's
amazing.
she's been true. I feel like she's a gift I got because things were so rough with my family. This is the trade-off that I get her.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, and like you said, you have to build your own family, right? So you're not tied to your family and you're going, you kind of branch out and build your own family.
it's hard to lose people. I'm excited that I get a chance to have
Hmm.
and build something of my own. It's definitely harder. Like, having her is great and very important, but I think similar to you, I really struggle to make friends. People
Yeah.
really don't like approaching disabled people, and they get confused,
Hmm.
and especially
Hmm.
around, like, when people are in college too, I feel like every time I make a friend, they're moving away or they got a job.
Yes,
Like,
that's how I feel
I
too.
get close
Yeah.
to people and then they leave. So making, like, more
Yeah.
is gonna be my big task. I feel like it's the only thing I feel like I really need to be working on.
Yeah. That's what I did this past, for like 2 years now. It's really trying to find my people. And I was saying that they're just not in this town.
Mm.
Because like you said, they don't offer enough accessible places for us. So it is hard. It's really hard. And that's why I'm so grateful to be connected to my long distance friends, such as Drew, who's in New York. But those are really the only friends I have on my New York friends. So, yeah.
That is why, yeah, both of you need to take your best decision so we can hang out together.
I know. That's how he'll be done. I'm driving Peter and his wife with
Mhm.
me. Yes.
What would you say to someone that feels isolated or persistent to do right now?
I think the big thing I would say is keep trying. It's it's gonna be hard and it's gonna take a lot of time, but eventually one day you're just gonna have the right moment and you'll start to find more people. And I think the way to keep yourself going is to realize that you're someone worth being friends with and worth trying for.
Mhm. Absolutely. Yes. I
Now
love that.
you will say I think I wanna say the same thing to someone to a listener at these home right now.
I agree. Yes, love that. Yeah. I definitely making that a quote and share it. So, for our final question, so obviously this podcast is called Still Becoming. So I always ask my guests, what does still becoming mean to you personally?
I think it's that idea that I'm still building myself, and I I think the important thing still becoming says to me is that I am going to get somewhere different than where I am now.
Yeah,
Because
I love that.
I worry a lot about being stuck in, like, not getting further in my transition or in making friends or in getting a career, but knowing that it just takes time and I'm gonna get there.
Right, right. Yeah, because they're always growing. We're always evolving. right? So like, I said this on a lot of episodes. We don't really start growing and evolving until we're dead.
Yeah,
So,
there there's no
uh,
ability, there's no age, there's no limit on changing and becoming new.
yeah, exactly. So I love that you have such uh optimistic view on like, okay, I'm struggling right now, but it's not gonna be like this forever, right? It might just be a season of my life, right? And that's an important thing to remember. We have seasons of our lives, and
Mhm.
then we have amazing opportunities, and then that's how we propel forward.
Mm.
So, yeah, continue being awesome, continue to keep being the advocate you are, um, and being so badass, not like take a notion. That's not because you and what is that thing you said you? It takes one person to make a difference. Something like that. I don't know. To help me out.
I sorry, Jazzy. I don't know which one you mean right now. The
No, why did you tell me that? I was saying that it takes one person should change something in the world to make it a better place or something like that.
yeah, I say a lot of things like that.
I'm just,
I'll
uh,
I'll go back it up. However, he's going back quick.
alright. Anyway, Tina, thank you so much for helping us kick off this 5-month series and for sharing your story so openly today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate getting to share. It's wonderful to be listened to.
Yes, I'm so excited to release this episode. As soon as it's released, I will also should let you know, share with you. I try to share with everybody know. And so yeah, for our listeners, thank you so much for listening to another episode of Still Becoming with Jazzy. If this episode resonated with you, please share it with someone who may need to hear it. And remember, you do not have to shrink yourself to be loved, accepted, or worthy of belonging. Until next time, keep growing, keep healing, and keep becoming.